A 10-year sentence for a Henderson woman convicted of distributing fentanyl was reduced to 2 years. According to court records, it was a compassionate release because of COVID-19.
So the woman sold fake drugs to a friend that resulted in a drug overdose, and the victim's mother calling for justice. The I-Team's Vanessa Murphy here live in studio with the story. Vanessa, what is compassionate release?
Brian, so compassionate release is used when issues like illness or certain family circumstances are considered and a prisoner is released early and doesn't have to serve their original full sentence. Over the past year, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, 200 inmates from cases in Nevada have made this request since the start of the pandemic, and the court has granted about 40. This mother asks, where's the compassion for the victims and their families?
She was my one and only daughter, my only child. My daughter made a bad decision. My daughter's not what she died of.
Yvonne Kerner says in 2015, her daughter Christiana moved from Ohio to Las Vegas for a new beginning. In 2017, the 25-year-old woman died of a drug overdose.
Got, obviously wrapped up in partying and stuff, and met somebody who, portrayed herself as somebody she could trust and would sell her drugs.
Investigators say Tiana Cordova knowingly sold Kerner fake pills with fentanyl, a powerful synthetic opioid. Kerner thought she was buying Percocet. Cordova was arrested and charged in 2018 by federal authorities. According to prosecutors, she was allowed to stay in a halfway house but was removed after she tried to cheat a drug test. She was moved to a detention center where she was caught attempting to make a drug sale using a cell phone. Through a deal, Cordova pleaded guilty to distribution of fentanyl. In 2019, federal judge Richard Boulware sentenced Cordova to 10 years in prison, followed by 15 years probation.
That was, to me, the compassion. The compassion, you got 10 years.
Cordova requested compassionate release the following year. The warden at her California prison denied her request. Her attorneys then made the request to Judge Boulware, citing COVID-19 and the increased danger of catching the virus in prison. They pointed to Cordova's epilepsy seizure disorder, asthma, and obesity. Cordova wrote to Judge Boulware saying she's clean and earned her GED in prison. In January, he tossed out the 10-year prison sentence, reducing it to 5 years probation.
How much do you feel like the judge let you down?
The judge 100%. The facts of the case did not change with COVID. What changed? My daughter's still dead and she's still guilty.
Federal prosecutors argued reducing Cordova's sentence risks marginalizing her criminal conduct, promotes disrespect for the law, and more importantly, trivializes the overwhelming suffering of her victims. But to Kerner, they didn't fight hard enough.
But every time I turn around, her lawyer outlawyered them.
Do you believe that your office did everything you could to keep her in prison?
I can only imagine the grief that the victim's family is going through, the frustration with the justice system. We argued against strongly, and we put our arguments forward as best as we could.
U.S. Attorney Nicholas Trutanich says his office is appealing the decision.
We disagree with it, but we do so respectfully.
Kerner insists her goal isn't revenge. She says she just wants justice.
I cannot go to my grave, whenever that may be, knowing I did not fight for my kid.
I tried reaching Tiana Cordova but was unable to. I also reached out to her attorneys and did not receive a response in time for this report. And I reached out to Judge Boulware. A spokeswoman said the court does not comment on current cases.